What is an astrological house, and why do they matter? You undoubtedly already know about sun signs and horoscopes, whether you're a serious student of astrology or just a casual observer. But how would you respond to the question of what sign rules your 8th house? In astrology, houses play a significant role, although not the sort with roofs and walls. According to the stars, these houses comprise zodiac signs and planets that might reveal more about your character and interpersonal connections. So, how do zodiac signs relate to houses? And what does it say about you? Hey everybody, welcome to Stars Are Signs. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications if you're interested in learning more about astrology and how it can be used to benefit your life. Well, let's get started. What does a house in astrology stand for? According to astrology, there is a sun sign associated with each person. A birth chart is depicted as a wheel that is 360 degrees in circumference and has 12 houses, also known as sections. When you were born, each planet and constellation in the zodiac was located in a certain house or region of this wheel. The house or area corresponds to the time of your birth. Astrologers believe that if you are aware of these placements, you will have a greater understanding of how astrology influences significant facets of your life, such as your relationships, your work, and your state of health. How do the houses connect to the zodiac signs? Each individual has an ascendant or rising sign, which is important to grasp in order to comprehend houses. This is the constellation ascending on the eastern horizon at the precise moment you came into the world. The ascendant sign is the symbol that appears in your birth chart on the apex, also known as the edge, of the first house. This symbol determines the placement of every planet, sign, and constellation in your personal horoscope. It's possible that your ascendant sign and the house it's related to might give insight into your public demeanor and the way you interact with others. In actuality, the first 6 astrological houses are referred to as personal houses by astrologers. These are the houses that teach you everything there is to know about yourself and how you interact with the outside world. Houses 7 through 12 are typically thought of as interpersonal houses. So what do the 12 houses actually stand for? Number 1, House of Identity. Early astrologers frequently referred to the first house as the helm because it was the only house in the chart that focused entirely on the individual being analyzed. The first house describes what it's like to live within your body and mind, and the subsequent homes detail the locations you go to, the people you interact with, and the experiences you have. This encompasses topics like expressing oneself, one's well-being, and one's individuality. It's often said that the first house is who you are when you wake up, including your outward look, the thoughts that go through your head, and the routine that you follow for taking care of yourself. Mercury is the planet that is said to find the most happiness in the first house because, more so than any other planet, it has a tendency to completely submerge itself in the sign that it is now in. Number 2, House of Income. The next house to be reviewed is the second house, which is one of the 2 houses in the chart that has a significant amount to do with financial matters. The second house is a literary reflection on the things that sustain you in life. Whether it's the amount of money in your bank account, the pursuit of fine cuisine, or the core values that guide your existence. Ancient astrologers considered this house one of the 2 gates of Hades, since it is the location where we give in to our desires and allow them to direct our actions. At this point in your chart, you should ask yourself whether the item in question is something you need or something you want. The notion of safety is yet another essential component of the second house. In the end, the second house is all about worth in terms of your bank balance and your internalized perception of your value. Number 3, House of Communication. Due to the fact that this is the point in the chart where the moon experiences the most success, traditional astrologers referred to the third house as the House of the Goddess. The moon is comparable to a satellite in that it constantly moves through space, but eventually winds up back where it started. As a result, the third house is associated with concerns pertaining to communication, brief vacations, the location where one resides, one's siblings, and close friends. It's common knowledge that the third house is important. This is a place where social media thrives. Number 4, House of Home. The nadir is the point in the chart that corresponds to the 4th house, which is the lowest point in the chart. This is the place where one may find their privacy, their ancestry, their home, and their family. This is where you may trace your origins. The ancients referred to this house as the lowest heaven, due to the fact that it's the place where the sun rests at the stroke of midnight when it is completely engulfed in darkness and is getting ready to be reborn in the morning. In poetic form, the fourth house represents both the poem's beginning and end. If you have planets in the fourth house, your primary concerns are likely to be on your immediate family, your ancestors, specific locales, and the acquisition of property. The goal of developing one's own personal space is highlighted by the fourth house. Number 5. House of Pleasure. The fifth house is where Venus, the planet of love, family, and procreation, finds the most fulfillment in life. This house, which the ancients referred to as wonderful fortune, is the location where all fortunate events, in fact, take place. Romance, pleasure, sex, creativity, and children are the primary focuses of this house. It's the place where something new comes into the world, whether that something is a creative endeavor or a genuine person. This is the place where you have parties, gamble away any extra money you have, and cry one more round at your friends when they want to leave the bar. In addition to that, it is the hub of speculative risks. If the sun, moon, or the ruler of your ascendant sign are predominantly situated in your fifth house, it's likely that you put pleasure, including your sexual health and happiness, above anything else. Number 6. House of Maintenance. Ancient astrologers gave the sixth house the name Bad Fortune because it makes a sharp turn from the house that came before it. Mars, the planet known for strife, division, and animosity, finds contentment in this hostile world. The sixth house gets its living by waging battle against the daily challenges that life throws at it, whether those challenges take the form of an actual conflict or are as simple as folding a stack of laundry. In addition to that, this house is the origin of sickness. Even though the first house is associated with your body and health, the sixth house is where you build a regimen for working out in addition to dealing with issues related to disease and accidents. The house of maintenance is crucial, but still, the sixth home is all about the cutest things in the world, little animals. Let's face it, your pet is one of the primary sources of inspiration that drives you to stick to a plan, and the sixth house is all about maintaining a routine. Number 7. House of Relationships. The seventh house of the birth chart is located on the western horizon of the horoscope. This house, which is just across from the previous one, places an emphasis not only on love, but also on platonic relationships. Your spouse, your closest friend, and your most acknowledged enemy all live in the seventh house. Additionally, debates and contracts may be found in this section. Ancient peoples associated this house with the afterlife of the dead. This is because this is the location where the sun goes down and disappears beyond the horizon. This is a poetic reference to the loss of autonomy that occurs whenever one associates with another person, regardless of whether or not the relationship is beneficial. This is the place where we settle our differences over responsibilities and come to key agreements. Number 8. House of Transformation. The eighth house is often associated with endings, death, and regeneration. It is the house of hidden enemies, unknown forces, and unexpected events. The eighth house rules over the following: death, regeneration, sexuality, inheritance, legal matters, and endings. The eighth house is commonly referred to as the house of inevitabilities due to the fact that it is where you deal with things that are unavoidable, such as passing away and paying taxes. The eighth house is ruled by the planet Saturn, a planet associated with endings, limits, and limitations. The eighth house also represents the unconscious mind and night dreams. This placement indicates that the person is naturally introverted and will likely spend most of their waking time alone. They are particularly sensitive to criticism. Sometimes people with this placement can be very creative and artistic, but may struggle to show their work for fear of rejection. They have a deep understanding of themselves and tend to be very self-critical about themselves as well. Their self-doubt can be paralyzing in some situations. Number 9. House of Travel. Astrologers traditionally associate the ninth house with fulfillment, calling it the house of God, due to its association with beliefs, philosophy, and faith. The ninth house is also concerned with travels and education. However, the ninth house is not for short travels or specialized talents, but is associated with long-distance travel and higher education. People who have important placements in the ninth house are usually influential figures in the fields of education, philosophy, and spiritual authority. It is also the house of spiritual experiences and exploration. The ninth house has to do with our beliefs, our ideals, and our understanding of the world around us. The ninth house is concerned with the mental side of life. It's a place where you can explore the depths of your intellect and have a deep understanding of the world around you. It's also where you can find wisdom and peace of mind. Number 10. House of Status. The 10th house is a house of ambition, achievement, and recognition. This house is also known as the House of Karma because it shows what you will reap in return for your actions. Your professional life, reputation, and public persona are all covered under the 10th house, which is located at the very peak of the chart. This house is considered to be the second most important one in the chart. This is due to the fact that it discusses your legacy as well as how you engage with the public world. It is common for the midheaven, also known as the career point, to be located in the 10th house. The 10th house is also symbolic of those who possess great influence on both societies and in your own life, such as your boss, your physician, or even a celebrity that you like. This is the place where we may brag about our achievements, turn in projects, and get appreciation. Number 11. House of Friends. The 11th house, often referred to as the home of good spirit by the ancients, is where all of your supporters in the public eye may be found. This area is where your friends, family, and co-workers are most likely to be seen. People with strong placements in the 11th house often do very well in group dynamics and take on leadership responsibilities in community organizations. In contrast to the 7th house, which is where you could develop ties with those who are hostile to you, the 11th house is all about hanging out with people who share your values and developing friendships. It should not come as a surprise that the 11th house is also about goals and wishes. You will have great luck when Jupiter, the planet of progress, luck, and expansion, finds placement in this house. It is the kind of placement where dreams may come true, even if they seem impossible at the time. Number 12. House of Unconscious. A significant amount of misunderstanding surrounds the 12th house, just as it does the 8th house. This is where one undoes their own good deeds, also known to the ancients as the abode of the evil spirit. This is the house that was visible on the horizon immediately before the time when you were born or when your mother was in the process of giving birth. This is the place where everything that is not you lives. It represents exile, nothingness, and unconsciousness. Saturn, the planet of structure and isolation, finds contentment in this residence since it is a place where one must put aside their personal wants for the good of the community rather than for their own individual needs. In this area, you can run into some enemies that you haven't seen before. The lesson to be learned from the 12th house is that you can't control everything and that it's often preferable to let go, submit, and retreat from the situation.